Hello. So welcome to the second lesson of Tech for PM's micro lesson series that I'm doing. So I'm just gonna dive right in. So let's start with our last example, right? What we were doing was we were using this table essentially as our database, right? And if you did the last homework, which I gave, you would have discovered that there's a lot of problems using this, right? One of them, let's just discuss one of them, right? So one of them is that what if two users have the same name? What's going to happen? We have no way of differentiating between two of them, right? And if that is the case, we're always going to get confused and we're going to display these messages to the other user and so on and so forth, right? The other thing is, what if I also wanted to store more data about Butch, right? Whether I wanted to know when he was last seen, right? That is a use case that might come in a messaging app. Or let's say his gender, or let's say his link to his profile picture, right? How would we do that? Uh, One way is that we create this weird protocol where we add butch one and then dash mail, and then when we're reading it, we separate it again, right? So we do this, and then when we're reading it, instead of we say that display only the first thing in the dashes, right? And then second dash means the first which number it is, and third dash is that it will lead to a whole lot of mess. One really amazing way to do this is, why don't we store these uh, details and along with the uniqueness of these users in another table, right? So what we do is we create another table which has an ID which uniquely identifies a user and their name, right? So 1 Fabian, 2 Butch, 3 Marcellus, 4 Butch again, right? And now instead of referencing the name, we reference, right, the ID in the messages table. So now we know that these three messages are by the first Butch, and this message, the fourth one, involves the other Butch, right? And now notice one thing. These IDs, essentially, the range of these IDs, or what these IDs are representing the rows in this table, right? So in a way, these two columns, and this column and this column, and this column and this column, are related, right? You might say it's a relational database. No, I'm just jumping the gun. Uh, in an essence, yes, this is a relational database. And we can do more things like add last seen, add gender. Now computer scientists will kill me for calling this a relational database, but this is the broad sense of a relational database, that you have things stored in tables, and these tables are mostly independent, right? So for example, this row is completely independent. This row mostly stores data in different columns, and this column is essentially not related to this column, right? And now these rows or these sort of objects can be referenced from other tables like messages, right? And this is the essence of relational databases, the holy grail of all, you know, modern database systems. Most of the times you're going to be using relational databases, and if not for storing, at least for querying, you will be using relational databases, and we'll come to that. So computer scientists came up a way to standardize this thing that we just came up with, right? And what's the advantage of standardizing this? Once, let's say, all apps in the world, or most apps in the world, are using this way of storing data, we can create a single way to query and manipulate that data. And what is that way? Well, drum rolls, please. Well, it's SQL. So that's it for this lesson. We have introduced what SQL is. Please do this homework and see you next time.